Georgie and Mandy's first marriage is a rare, high-concept sitcom, like How I Met Your Mother or Young Sheldon. It ended with Sheldon at Caltech and Georgie blissfully married to Mandy. Viewers knew this marriage would end since Georgie debuted in The Big Bang Theory Season 11, Episode 23, The Sibling Realignment. I knew his relationship with Mandy would fail in that outing. George's earlier self called her his ex-wife. Georgie and Mandy married in Young Sheldon Season 7. Therefore, they would eventually split. The title of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage implies this, and the spinoff's main premise explains what went wrong between the seemingly happy couple. How did they divorce? Although I can appreciate many positive aspects of Georgie and Mandy's relationship, I'm also very sure that the reason they divorced was revealed in Episode 11, Working for the Enemy. Of their first marriage, a rift between Georgie and Mandy is inevitable as his astute economic acumen causes him to lose sight of what's truly important in life. George views the world through a profit and loss prism, as shown in Working for the Enemy, while Mandy prioritizes her family above her spouse. In Working for the Enemy, Jim and Georgie get into an argument over his broken store after Mandy's dad finds out that his son-in-law had bought a shipment of free Korean tires to sell. Jim asserts that he dismissed Georgie, and the enraged woman storms out of Jim's office. Disputes ensue, with Georgie accepting a position at a competing tire company, and Jim ultimately having to concede that Georgie was correct about the Korean tire sales performance. The plot emphasizes more than just the fact that the two have unresolved animosity toward one another. In the previous episode, Sheldon's roommate agreement helped calm things down between Mary and Audrey. But in Working for the Enemy, neither Jim nor Georgie are able to put their differences aside. Jim may be able to swallow his pride and rehire Georgie in the end. But for now, both of them are unhappy with Jim's cautious approach to business and with George's reckless ambitions for expansion. These differing viewpoints are probably the cause of George's departure from Jim's tire store, as The Big Bang Theory has already shown. It is revealed in the sibling realignment that the previous Georgie from The Big Bang Theory has a thriving tire business network. Brother Sheldon christens the chain Dr. Ty, which annoys Sheldon greatly. In Working for the Enemy, little brother Georgie may not have a PhD, but he makes up for it with astute business acumen that Jim, who is more reserved and conventional, lacks. This was fostered by George's father, George Sr., but Jim hates it, and his daughter is unexpectedly eager to take a side. In Working for the Enemy, Mandy suggests that her mom put George's job in jeopardy so that her father would be compelled to go back to Jim's tire store, rather than requesting that he reach a settlement with Georgie. It's clear that Georgie's mother would rather have her daughter work for Jim than go it alone, as George's boyfriend begs her to have him fired. On the other hand, Georgie has been upfront about the fact that he views his job with Jim as a stopgap measure rather than a career trajectory. Since the very first episode of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, it became increasingly apparent that Mandy and George's divorce could be triggered by Jim and George's differences over business. When Mandy sided with her father, Georgie may start a competing store to implement his theories if he and the owner can't resolve their ongoing disagreement regarding the store's management. His marriage would likely suffer as a result, but he might launch his Dr. Ty brand to great success. Ultimately, Jim's mortal opponent happens to be the proprietor of the other tire store in town. Considering this crucial setting, the terrible end of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage is not unexpected. Fred is the proprietor of a tire store, and Jim immediately despises him. Unlike Georgie, Fred did not pick up all of his business acumen from Jim. Jim has every right to be angry that Georgie turned his mentorship into a business rival and stole his clientele. Nevertheless, Mandy has previously shown that she will support her father rather than Georgie in a fight. It looks like Georgie and Mandy are about to split up because of her business sense, and Jim and George's continued partnership in the business world isn't looking well due to the Big Bang Theory TI store chain. The episode ended with the two characters reaching an awkward détente. Although it is unclear how long this truce will endure or whom Mandy would support in the future, in spite of Mary's many failings as a mom, she instilled in her son the value of standing firm even when he was wrong. Irreconcilable differences between Mandy and Georgie, despite the fact that both sides have valid points, are what make their arguments so tragic. Mandy prefers to take a stand with her dad rather than her emotionally distant mother Audrey, because her dad is always there for her when she needs him. Georgie isn't greedy. He only wants to make life better for him and Mandy. Therefore, he's working to increase his earning potential. While it's easy to sympathize with Georgie and Mandy on both sides of the issue, their inability to resolve their differences amicably in working for the enemy demonstrates how difficult it is for them to do business together. The Young Sheldon couple's eventual breakup may have been covered up in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, which is bad news for their future together.